Let me ask you a question. What separates the winners from the losers? The people who achieve their goals from those who quit? Well, one word can sum this up, and that is discipline. If you struggle with inconsistency, confidence, procrastination, and just not following through in your life, this is the video for you, because I'm going to go through several critical tips and ways that you can incorporate more discipline into your life so that you can follow through, you can hit your targets, and before you know it, you can be living the life of your dreams, or you can finally finish that project which you've been putting off, whether that's getting out a new creative project, a new business project. It could be getting started on new career goals or even fitness goals or whatever it is in your life you want to get done and you're struggling. Listen to the end of this video, because I'm going to be sharing with you some nuggets of gold. Now, I've struggled with discipline more than anyone else probably when it comes to incorporating this into my life. But since I started to learn some of the techniques and tools I'll be talking about in today's video and I employed them, I've been able to, number one, I launched a blog, crowdcrux.com, which I've written over 1,000 articles on. I published more than 10 books available on Amazon. I have interviewed and recorded over 500 podcasts on my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified. And I also have a YouTube channel with hundreds of videos and more than 50,000 subscribers. So the tips that I'm going to be sharing in this video work, and regardless of what it is that you're struggling with or the way in which you want to move your life forward, you're going to dramatically benefit from incorporating some of these ways to be more disciplined. Now, you're going to want to make sure you listen to this first tip, because it can literally mean the difference between success and failure, and also sets up the foundation for all the other tips I'm going to be sharing in this video. And that's that the first couple of days when you're doing anything new is probably the most important piece of the process. And you probably already know that. Getting started is the hardest part of any process. It's like, that first snowball that you're rolling down the hill, and then it can gain momentum and steam. So what I would recommend for my first tip is to commit to what I call the 67-day rule. Now, this is just a fancy way to say basically commit to doing a sprint. Commit to a specific period where you're really going to get serious about this project, about this goal, about this endeavor. And that could just mean every single day, starting with this date on the calendar, I'm going to do the right things. I'm going to start to try to show up at the gym. I'm going to start to attend a co-working space and work on my business. I'm going to start to read this new book and a little bit of chapter every day. You want to have a stake in the ground. And you want to make sure that, again, it's a sprint where you're having a compressed period of action that you're taking over the course of 67 days. And I call this the 67-day rule. For example, I used this when I launched my podcast, which was that I was going to be serious about it for 67 days and interview guests over the course of those 67 days to see if I liked doing it, but also how good I was to get better, to understand tips, to watch videos on podcasting, and to really learn much more about the craft. I also used the 67-day rule when I launched this YouTube channel in order to begin to get videos out there, because I was so meek, I was so shy when it came to being on camera. I didn't know anything about video editing, so I really spent 67 days immersed in the world of YouTube, learning as much as I could, taking action as much as I could in order to move my goals forward. Studies show that when we have a sense of urgency around what it is that we're going after, more often than not, number one, it's going to go to the top of our to-do list. If we have a list of 10 things to do that day, if we have something that's most urgent, we're going to knock that out of the way first. Number two, when something is urgent and we feel a sense of urgency around this, we're going to show up. We're more likely to take action. We're more likely to plow through, and if challenges present themselves, we're going to find the time to actually work on that. If it's something that's urgent in our life and we're in the middle of a sprint that maybe isn't going to last forever. And in addition, when it comes to that period, anyone can be disciplined for 67 days. That's the beauty of it, is that anyone can go on a sprint, anyone can hustle for a specific period of time. And this is a great way, again, to start that momentum of incorporating more discipline in your life centered around a specific project or a specific goal. Tip number two, in order to incorporate more discipline into your life, is that once you've committed to go through that sprint, I want you to really begin to commit to it. And the way we commit to it is to create clear reasons why we are fed up with our current way of life. If you're overweight, you're unhappy because of this, it's holding you back. Maybe you don't like the way you look, you feel ugly when you look in the mirror, or just your health in general, you demand a higher standard when it comes to your life. If it's the quality of your relationships, that you're fed up with these negative experiences which you've been having, and you're finally ready to change the way that you've been going about this area of your life. If it's your business, gosh darn it, I've been thinking about doing this for so long, I've been paralyzed with fear, I've had enough. You need to create a clear why. as to why you are going to be taking action now, why this is the thing that you want to focus on, and more importantly, you got to get a little bit angry about it. Get a little bit fed up with how your current situation is, or the gap between where you are and where you want to be, and begin to just, instead of feeling sad or beat down, take that energy and start to get a little bit angry, because we're going to use that fuel when it comes to this sprint, and we're going to start to get excited. The next tip that I have for you, and again, this is kind of setting up that 67-day sprint, is that you need to get in the driver's seat in your life. And by the driver's seat, what I mean is begin to assume responsibility for everything that is happening in your life. If something negative happens, assume responsibility. If something positive happens, also know that you were the one to cause this. If you decide to eat a hamburger, you're the one who made that choice. You need to get in the driver's seat and stop saying, well, I was feeling this way, or this thing happened, or this major event. You got to stop focusing on the external world and instead direct that world internally to take control and to assume responsibility. This is easier said than done. A lot of times it can be a little bit of a blow to our ego as well when it comes to taking that responsibility. But it is so critical for setting up a 67-day sprint is that you need to get in the driver's seat and blame yourself for everything that's happening right now in your life. And rather than getting sad or beat down, go to my previous point, which is that you need to get a little bit angry and ready to change and finally just fed up with all of these things, and you're now willing to take action to right the wrongs and to get yourself on the first track to success. So take responsibility and don't push it off on anyone else. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. My next tip will make incorporating discipline as easy as pie when it comes to evolving this in your life. But one other quick thing I would say is that when we're going through these tips, you should also be thinking about what does the opposite look like? So for example, my last point of taking control. What is someone who's out of control? What do they look like? They're always blaming the external world. They're never taking responsibility. They're always saying it was because of this or that. They're making excuses. If you want to become disciplined, if you want to become a winner, if you want to hit your targets or to complete projects, you need to adopt the opposite, right? When it comes to each of these points. Another one would be to think about what is someone who's not angry and not, fed up when it comes to their life. Well, they're just kind of like, well, it'll be all right, no worries. Maybe they feel a little bit sad, or they get depressed, or they get down. You really want to consider what does the opposite look like, and that's really why I'm pointing out some of these major points in this video. And if you've been enjoying this video so far, make sure you like and subscribe when it comes to this YouTube channel. Come subscribe because I put out videos every single week on how to move towards your goals. Leave a positive comment down below, and I'm also going to be sharing with you a killer resource to help speed up this entire process towards the end of the video as well. Tip number 4 to have more discipline in your life is to change the voices which you are listening to. It is absolutely critical that you begin to control the voices that you are listening to. Now, by those voices, I mean, for example, reading books, listening to YouTube videos while you're doing other things, you're walking on the treadmill, you can listen to YouTube videos, right? Making sure that you're listening to people who are moving you forward, that are giving you messages that are going to empower you. Even, watching motivational videos, right? Making sure you're listening to the right voices is going to make it so you're not just in this echo chamber of mediocrity. And a lot of the times, if we're trying to jumpstart our life or incorporate more discipline, we're finding so many excuses in our surrounding as to why we can be average. But really, you can't be average if you want to go out there and you want to crush it and you want to be a winner. You got to be willing to ante up and control those voices which you're listening to, even tuning into audiobooks and podcasts. These are all great ways to keep feeding your mind so that you have a higher level that you want to show up at in your life. Number 5 is really how this all sticks and how this all comes together, and that's that you need some place that you can write down and you can track your progress. This is so important because if you don't track your progress, not only are you going to measure your level of activity, but who are you really beholden to? Who you're making a commitment to? Who you're making a pledge to? There's no evidence that that has been happening. So you could, if you're going on the old school route, you could just get a simple planner or a journal or a notebook if you prefer offline methods. There are so many productivity tools and apps nowadays as well when it comes to Notion or Monday.com. There's also some great daily planner apps that are available out there, or a habit tracker tracker. Pick the one that works well for you and begin to track what is going to be my target over the course of these 67 days. What are a couple of commitments that I may want to make? And maybe what's one or two small habits that I can incorporate every single day to make sure that I stay on track. And that could be as simple as spending your morning 15 minutes listening to something that's going to get you into that mindset of discipline, or making sure you add within your calendar a block of time to work on your business every single day, even if it's only for 30 minutes. So create some kind of offline or online place where you're creating goals, commitments, and also tracking your progress. The next tip, and this is arguably the hardest to do, but also one of the most powerful in many ways, because we have what's called neuroplasticity in our brain, which is just a term in cognitive neuroscience that our brain is basically plastic and it's always changing. Our neurons in our brain are always forming new connections. And what you want to do is you want to start to form some new connections over the course of this 67-day sprint as part of the 67-day rule. And the main neural connection that I want you to form is to go the extra mile. So for example, let's just say you have a goal of going and working 30 minutes, right, on your business every single day, and you show up and you work through the 30 minutes. Most people would just kind of stop right then and there. I want you to go the extra mile. And that might even mean working an extra 5 minutes or an extra 10 minutes, right? Go the extra mile, and you'll start to build that habit of being willing to go more than what is required of you. And it kind of combats that feeling of laziness, right? So for example, when you're going to the gym and maybe you have a goal to walk a mile or to go for a mile run, instead go for like a little bit more than a mile. Go for a mile and a half or a mile and a quarter, right? Whatever it is, just to train your brain that more is possible, that we're expanding, that we're continuing to grow, and we're not just settling with mediocrity, or we're always pushing our targets. To give you an example of this, when it came to my podcast and I was beginning to schedule guests, one way that I tried to push myself was to then go after higher caliber of guests, and forcing myself when I was doing outreach to start to outreach to higher caliber guests. So you always want to go the extra mile and push a little bit beyond what the minimum requirement is. And then all of a sudden you become that person who is showing up far more than is asked of you, and you become that type of person that's not only following through, but also going the extra mile. The last and the final tip goes to all of the monkey brain chimps among us, myself of course being included in that, and that's to make it easy. Make it easy to incorporate discipline in your life. To give you an example, if you're going to be trying to learn how to run and to get to that a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles, run a marathon, instead of waiting for the morning of to get out your workout clothes and to get out your workout shoes, do that the night before rather than the morning of when you're going for a workout. If you know, for example, that you're going to be waking up and then putting in 15 minutes of meditation, try to remind yourself ahead of time, maybe by having your meditation pillow there, right? Or having a really easy track on your phone that you can quickly play so you can get that out of your main schedule. If you're trying to become more disciplined to crush your project, so after you come home from work after your 9 to 5, you're going to continue to work for another 30 minutes or an hour on your project, set yourself up for success. Organize your desk ahead of time. Have a notebook there, right? Have your previous notes when it comes to this project. Make it easy to open your laptop and just get into work mode. If you're trying to do YouTube videos, get the setup already done the night before, the day before, or even 30 minutes or an hour before you're going to film to improve the chance that you follow through. Make it easy. And if you want to make it as easy as pie, and you want to have a 60-day system to follow, and also some of the cardinal principles that are going to get you there, the ones that work for me, the ones that work for many of my students, clients, podcast guests, this is really kind of like if you are really looking to jumpstart your life, to have at the end of those 67 days, you don't even recognize yourself, but you're kind of like amazed at the progress that you've made towards your goals, towards your aspirations and dreams, and just living a better quality of life. Go down below and pre-order my book, The 67-Day Rule. I'm telling you, this book is a game changer, and not only is it filled with valuable tools, tactics, and techniques when it comes to setting new goals, habit formation, going after and plowing through obstacles that hold you back in life, but it's also a commitment to go after that goal over the course of 67 days, to plow into it, to go through that sprint, and some of the easy ways that you can structure that to make sure that you don't don't fall on your face, and that you really set yourself up for success. So go down below, click the link, and you can pre-order my book on Amazon, The 67-Day Rule. I hope you enjoy it, and regardless, take a second to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Would love to hear from you. My name is Salvador Briggman, and I'll see you next time.